just telling everybody that I meant to do the countdown gimmick, and I didn't.
Fair.
Joseph, how are you?
I'm good, man. I did like an hour solo show earlier on the Patreon. We talked about Ring of Honor some, but I think, look, we can get into it, but it's a difficult situation, right? Because at core, it appears that many people not only have lost their job, but I'm not particularly confident they'll be getting them back.
Yeah.
And with that, immediately makes the news inherently negative, right? There's no two ways about it. That's just bad news. Then you kind of take on the element of like, as a fan of that promotion for as long as it's been, it's sad. But there's also this kind of weird, and like it isn't the time for this, but I'm going to be honest, it's the truth. Like, it's like, we kind of knew where the promotion was trending, right? Like, as much as whether you enjoyed it or didn't enjoy it, the writing was on the wall in some ways. I didn't think any of us expected it to happen this sudden. And again, maybe nothing's happened. Maybe they're going to come back great in April. I mean, good luck if so. I don't know that's the case, but I don't know. There's a weird mix of emotions for me, to be honest with you guys. I don't know if it's just me, but it's a weird vibe.
O'Neal, we turned you into an ROH fan over the last 2 weeks. They had buzz coming out of our show yesterday. And then, this all started. So they announced that they were going to halt live events for the first quarter of 2022. They hadn't run anything since their last shows in Philadelphia, which did not sell well. They were going to do Final Battle, and they're still going to do Final Battle. They had another special announced for November, but there wasn't like full details on that. I think everybody kind of figured they were just going to shut things down after Final Battle because they hadn't done anything between the Philly shows and then Final Battle. I don't think anybody expected that they were going to pause for an entire quarter to start the year. And then, of course, it said, we'll be back in April. And people just kind of, for a couple minutes anyway, I think just kind of assumed, okay, well, I guess they'll still kind of take television in the bubble and they'll kind of build towards Supercard of Honor in April. And then literally like 5 minutes later, Meltzer tweeted that like everybody got released. Sean tweeted that any expiring deals at the end of the year just won't be renewed. Anybody who had a contract left over will be paid through March 31st, and ROH will work with talent to get them other bookings and everything like that. Sean also said that Joe Koff fought hard to keep it. This seemed like it was a Sinclair decision, and that there was going to be some type of TV specials coming out of Final Battle, but no one really seems to know what that means right yet. O'Neal, as a new ROH fan, what are your thoughts on this?
It's sad, man. Like, I've enjoyed watching the past couple weeks or whatever, but I was thinking more about it. Like, the influence that they've had pretty much the entire time I've been watching wrestling just can't really be understated. And that's kind of been a big part of all this. Like, even though I haven't watched, the stuff from 15 or 20 years ago, a lot of my favorite guys came through there. A lot of just the way that we've kind of seen wrestling in the past, decade plus has just been so influenced by them. And it sucks. I hope they come back strong. I really do. And again, like the past 3 years or so, like obviously things have been tough for them. Some of that's their fault, some of that's not. But I don't know, man. It seemed like they were kind of going back on the up and up. And it's tough too because, they paid people throughout the pandemic. They didn't have fans there. They're doing all the right things. And, look where it got them.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, you're absolutely right on that. And like that's where the alarm bells were at on that statement to me, was that, they kind of listed those things they'd done correctly, objectively correctly, right? Like, and they followed it with it's time for us to, restructure. And it's like, that sounds an awful lot like they want to make up some of the money they've just been spending on this talent. And that's business, right? We get that because, the promotion, I'm going to assume, wasn't a great kind of financial triumph for them. It was content, right? And that is what it is. But it's interesting, man. Like I think we all, in times like these, we all kind of, and whatever your era is, whatever your favorite moments, it's like a sadness, but there's this weird kind of like the memories become even fresher in your brain, right? Like the stuff that you watched, and I don't know. I assume the promotion was going to just keep kind of plodding along. I'll be honest, as much as I enjoyed it and as much as I loved some of the stuff they were doing, I never got the sense, sadly, that they had this like next revolution or generation ahead. I didn't. It felt like they were going to just, keep plugging. And that's what. Let's be real, man. That's what most promotions are doing. Not many promotions at any given time are creating eras that they're going to remember forever. They're just kind of existing. And that's where Ring of Honor was, and in an ideal world, it would have continued doing that. But right now, I'm just, there's a lot of my favorite wrestlers had some really great moments there, and it's like you just hope that whether it returns in April or whether it's under someone else's umbrella or whether it, whatever, you just hope that company's legacy and history and archives and all that stuff, is handled accordingly. That's where I'm at right now, which is probably a defeatist attitude, but like it's hard to really come at this with optimism. Let's be real,
We're gonna get into this a lot more, I think, tomorrow on the main show. At least for Joseph and I. O'Neal, like, I guess they're still taping television through Final Battle. They're gonna do Final Battle. I have no idea what that card looks like. I hope it's like a celebration of sorts, because it certainly should be. Like from you as a newer fan, like what do you think is sort of next for the promotion? Like where do you see this? How do you see this playing out? I guess.
I mean, the track records of promotions that have gone on hiatus haven't been great. So that's a bummer, but just going ahead immediately, I would like Final Battle to kind of be, if it is, the end, even if it's just temporary end, maybe try and get some of your kind of cornerstone guys in there, like Danielson or Punk if you can, just for one night, and just it's gonna be, that show in particular is gonna have a real interesting environment that we haven't seen in quite some time, and from there, I hope they do have a plan. I hope they do take the first quarter next year and, figure some back strong. But it's a little tough to be optimistic about it just based on, when we've seen other promotions do something similar.
If you're Joe Koff, like, what are you? Because, again, Sean said that Joe Koff was trying to fight for this, and it was sort of a Sinclair decision. Like, if you're Joe Koff, like, what is your game plan on this stuff? Do you try to retain once you come back? Do you try to retain like core talent pieces? I guess because they're on Sinclair, they got to pump out some type of content, but you could do archive stuff. That's what it seems like they're going to do for a portion of 2021 or 2022. Sorry. Like, do you try to retain core talent? Do you just fulfill your Sinclair obligations? Like, how do you try to navigate this moving forward?
Well, and that's the tough part too, because like, your core talent's not going to just want to sit and not be paid for 3 months. They're probably going to go, find some work elsewhere. So, what's going to be left for you in April is going to be the big thing. And that's really the unfortunate part of it all, like you want to bring back as many people as you can, but you can't just expect them to wait for you.
So some of the talent won't be waiting, because if their deals were expiring after this year, Bob, they're getting paid for it. But you're right. I think, let's be honest, and I've said this before, and it's, like they probably don't need as many guys on their roster page as they've had for the last few years. Mm. They do 1 hour of TV. There is a world in which they restructure, and, people in our chat on Patreon were saying about, like the GCW model or whatever, where it's per appearance. I mean, you can do that because if you do, how many tapings would they have to do a year? 10?
Well, yeah, you take once a month, like
right, like it's
impact schedule.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Now, where it's worth doing is probably the question. I don't know.
Well, Joe Koff did an interview with Mike Johnson at PW Insider, and he spoke a lot. Like he spoke a lot about AEW, and he just mentioned like we had certain plans. Guys got signed. Guys went elsewhere. AEW scooped a lot of the talent, and they came on the scene and they became like the big super indie promotion that ROH sort of occupied. Because if AEW doesn't come along, I don't think the Bucks and everybody were staying there. It sounds like they were going to go to WWE in a hypothetical world where AEW doesn't come along. But ROH certainly made them big offers of, hey, you can have some booking control. I'm sure they tried to pay them as much as they could. We know how much that the Bucks and Cody meant to ROH business, and to an extent Omega, even though he wasn't there. Like, we know how much that meant to business. We know how much the New Japan relationship meant to business. AEW kind of scooped that a little bit. So with Koff and what he was talking about there, I think maybe they had plans. Maybe they want to just try to keep a more limited roster with things, and moving forward, that's what they end up doing, is just keep a smaller roster of people. I really don't know. I want to talk kind of about the AEW Impact more tomorrow on that show, because I do think that's a bigger conversation worth having, and I don't want to dive full deep into that. But moving forward for ROH and like sort of what they do, like what is the best model? Should they just go to just special events, kind of like what they used to be, right? Like they tried to tell stories through these bigger events, but for the most part, they were just weekly events and not weekly television. It's almost, I know everybody wanted weekly television, and when they got it on HD Net, like it seemed like a triumph, but it's almost like that set the company back in a lot of ways, and what made them like lose some specialness. That's what happened. That's why I say GCW is the third brand, because they're not aiming for any of that. They just do big events, they build big fights, and that's what ROH used to be about.
Yeah, there's a lot of different points in the timeline I think you can circle. I think, TV was something that, Silken and Co. were really locked into. And I think it's obvious it didn't have quite the impact on business they hoped. That's what it is, HDNet, all that stuff. But I think, and yeah, you want to talk about tomorrow, so I get that, but it feels like that couple years before the Elite left, they got so reliant on those guys and New Japan.
Yeah.
And there was so many dudes that left just out the back door. And like, I get it. You can't pay everyone, but like, that was a mass exodus. And it was like, the Elite were up front and they were keeping things kind of somewhat afloat, but the underneath was being taken out, systematically taken out. And as soon as that top tier was gone, there was nothing left. And that's, look, I mean that with love to the talent that stayed there, because there's still good talent there. But let's be real. If you guys pull up the talent pool that left between like 2015 and 2018, it's incredible. I mean, it's an all-star roster. They all left. And some of that stuff is guys reaching the end of their cycle. Roderick Strong. I think it was time for Roderick Strong to probably leave Ring of Honor. There was other ones that wasn't. O'Reilly just felt like he was becoming a top guy for them, and he left. And again, God bless him. I hope he got paid great for that. Obviously, that's the deal. It's a job. But that were the years where it was like, oh man, every other week, another guy was headed to Full Sail. And it's not their fault. It's not NXT's fault. That's just the way the industry evolved. And the Elite thing is, like, some people are obviously being dumb about it. It's what they do. But like, the truth is that Ring of Honor never had the investment or ambition to make the strides that AEW has made. Like, that's just the reality. And I agree with Jeremy. It's an interesting conversation. We'll leave it at that. But like, there are people that really have logged on tonight and think that if Tony Khan doesn't come in, AEW now is just what Ring of Honor would have been. It's like, no, that was not at all where that company was trending. Yeah. But I don't know. It's really difficult for me to give my honest answer on in terms of what they do next, because it's like, I would like all those people to keep their jobs, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend to you that there's like a route to great relevance. Like, I don't know, man. It's felt like they stalled, a couple of years back, and they've really struggled. And again, I love the foundation stuff. Shane Taylor, this is not a knock on the talent or the product, but it does feel like their kind of cycle came to an end a while back. And that's kind of how wrestling promotions historically operate. They have their kind of artistic highs, they have their lows, and at some point they just lose their grip on where the industry's headed. Maybe I'm being unfair to say Ring of Honor's done that, but I think it's quite obvious that it's no longer kind of what it once was, which was this like home of the super indie. I mean, those days are long, long gone, unfortunately. It's a different time.
We have an unscheduled run-in, as always.
Normally I'd come on here and do a bit, but I feel like it'd be in kind of bad taste now. I do have a story on Select about one person that looks like they're going to find work, but there's a lot of really upset people. Like people liked working for Ring of Honor, for better or for worse. Like I didn't have anybody that was like, man, I hate it here. There were a lot of people that really loved that schedule where they get to pop in once every month or two and do their work. And then like a lot of them held day jobs just in addition to what they were being paid by ROH. But man, they treated their talent really, really well during the pandemic. Like they paid people that they wouldn't have been obligated to pay the per appearance stuff. The Bruisers just told me, I've got 2 interviews in the can with people just gushing about ROH. And the Bruisers, Beer City Brawler was 40 and he got WWE interest, does not look like anybody they'd want. And he's like, no, I think I'm going to stay with ROH on a per appearance. And during the pandemic, ROH is like, we're going to make you exclusive now. Like Sledge got signed there before the pandemic. And then when he got re-signed, people went, re-signed? We never saw him because of the pandemic. Like they were really, really good to people. And this is not ideal. I don't know what they think they're going to rebuild, but I even said it on today's show. Like 3 years ago, they were the number 2 company in America. Number 2. And it wasn't even close. Now they were behind Impact. They were behind GCW. I don't think you could even argue that they're behind them, especially when ticket sales are concerned. PWG's back. They might be behind them at this point. Like nobody was talking about Ring of Honor, and that's really sad, except for you guys. Of course, you guys started doing ROH.
We got O'Neal interested. Now it's just shit.
They were behind MLW at this point because MLW is really good at keeping their name in the news. Like they're very good about making headlines, and ROH just wasn't that good at it. As far as just like people caring, they had fallen so far down from number 2 in America.
Yeah, there was a very sad moment where like they did good stuff in the pandemic, both obviously behind the scenes, but on screen too. Right when they came back, the Foundation and the Pure Title and all that stuff. But there was when they went back to the live crowds, and like those crowds weren't just small; they were cold too. They weren't in like it. Yeah. You got a real sense that man, people haven't been watching the show, and it's just difficult. It feels like they've been flying uphill in terms of visibility, in terms of relevance, all that stuff. But as you said, it wasn't long ago they were number 2. It's crazy.
Little things I would hear, like, and I mean, obviously they had a giant mess with the Joey Mercury stuff. Like nobody wants to deal with that mess. They flew all their talent to Maryland and had this big meeting. And I've asked every single wrestler that I know was there then in an interview about it. They took down like 150 ideas on a whiteboard and they implemented a bunch, like from catering to production, like all kinds of stuff. But then I'll have people that are there that are like, they film our shows and nobody knows if anybody's there because all they're filming is these video screens in the background that they spent so much money on. Like you don't know if there's 10 or 10,000 people in the venue. Oh man, it's such a mess. It's unfortunate. They tried to fix a lot of this. They really, really tried with that meeting after the Joey Mercury thing. We all thought that them getting Marty Scurll on board was a good thing. Boy, I'll tell you a great decision they made in hindsight, not putting that fucking belt on him. Who would have thought that 2.5 years later, we're like, man, Matt Taven was the right choice in MSG. Like they just, it kept slipping through their fingers every single time. They were going to launch a new women's division 1.5 years before they did, and the pandemic happened. Like it is a lot of bad luck, but damn, man, this sucks. But this is going to flood the market. There's going to be some real beneficiaries of this.
I think, I mean, a lot of the talent was sort of working elsewhere. Like we would see Brody King pop up in PWG. Jonathan Gresham just works wherever the hell he wanted to. And they'll have other people who will go elsewhere. I am worried like it will flood the market a little bit. There's only so many spots for a lot of these people because you look at all the WWE releases and it's like, oh man, now people are going to be like thriving elsewhere. And there's still people who have been released by WWE who just like haven't picked up work.
Dude, There are people who left Ring of Honor who just like TK O'Ryan. He has not worked. He cut this promo like a year and a half ago that they put on their YouTube channel, and they're like this passionate promo, and he talks about how much he loves everybody, and he had some concussion issues, but he had done like a 20-date tour right before that, so like he could still go. He hasn't wrestled since then. Like Will Ferrara wasn't wrestling for a long time and just happened to come back. Like some of these people in the middle of their deals were just like, man. I thought Bobby Fish was going to land in ROH. I was shocked that he went to AEW.
He's about to beat CM Punk and become the ace of AEW tonight.
So people have convinced me.
Well, I'm intrigued, Sean, and this is like from the outside looking in, it feels like this is not the market for them.
Yeah.
But how many of these talents do you think Impact Wrestling would have any interest in? Because their roster is sizable, but like it feels like these guys can improve the in-ring to me, a handful of them anyway.
So as I look at their roster right now, obviously Bandito, Roosh, all those people,
right.
they're getting work. That's not a concern. You would think a guy like Chris Dickinson, but he didn't have that interest before, at least as far as we know. Brody King's getting hired by somebody. If he ain't hired by AEW tomorrow to do whatever it is, yeah. Danhausen's going to get work somewhere. I just don't know where. I don't know where he fits. He could survive on the indies. EC3, obviously Impact's going to be interested in him. Flip Gordon is going to have interest from probably AEW and Impact Wrestling. The Briscoes are going to have interest somewhere. Like they're the type of team that you got to pick up. I know they've got a checkered past. You pick them up. Them and the Usos is nothing but money. So I reached out to Jonathan Gresham, and he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I was like, what do you mean you don't know what you're going to do? You're about to be the belle of the ball, buddy. Like, and it was just a short little message, and he thanked me for reaching out. But I was like, you're about to get some offers, my friend. Like
how many people, because you mentioned it, of how well they took care of everybody in the pandemic, and like they're going to try to come back in April. What that looks like, I don't know.
Allegedly.
Yes. How many people are going to like hold out? And this might not be their choice. This might be what the market ends up being. But how many people just don't sign a long-term deal and they're like, I'm going to show a little bit of loyalty to ROH, see what they have cooking in April, and we'll go from there. Maybe they do pay-per appearance stuff, but they don't sign anything long-term because they want to possibly give ROH that chance in April to sort of reprove themselves.
And I guess that is a possibility because of how well Ring of Honor did treat people during the pandemic. They did not fire anybody. They didn't lay anybody off. They are effectively giving people 60 days to find work. They're telling people, if you want to work elsewhere, we can work that out. What I assume that means is we'll let you out of your deal and not pay you anymore. The people, I mean, so nobody, from what I understand, is bound to the new ROH. Like it will be whoever it is that they pick up. And I'm sure that some of them will look at that and say, well, they're going to pay me for 6 months or 5 months, whatever it is. So I appreciate that. There are some that will just stick with familiarity, but I had one wrestler that said it's going to be like ROH 2.0, but they didn't use that term. They did have to change stuff, but that's an interesting conundrum because we haven't seen a situation like this since WCW. This is WCW light. There's a whole bunch of people that are going to get paid to do nothing for a while, and they're going to decide if they want to do that or if they want to bet on themselves. And based on each person's individual financial situation, it's hard to really determine who's going to want that.
It's interesting too with the reported shift in like NXT's philosophy in terms of talent recruitment, because that feels like a factor here. Do you think there's a chance that they kind of budge on that if you get a guy like Jonathan Gresham available? I would like to think so, right? But what do you think?
AEW's got to hire Jonathan Gresham yesterday with all the issues of representation and all that they've got. Like, to me, and I've said this a million times, I don't think there was any better explanation of Taz's character than on the rise and fall of ECW than when Vince McMahon called him ECW's sawed-off monster. And I was like, that's a hell of a gimmick. Like, that's you do that with Jonathan Gresham. Like, he's a guy that's half your size that can do whatever he wants to you and you can't stop him. That's a gimmick for AEW, and it's not a gimmick. It's just who he is. They got to sign him. And I'm sure like he had a bunch of extra work there. Like, you know, he was helping out with the women's division and he was helping train people. Oh, man.
See, Gresham is an example, and look,
Yeah.
he's going to have offers from everywhere. But Gresham is an example I'm thinking of when I talk about like the loyalty stuff of like, yes, he could easily go to AEW, whatever they offer him. It's secure. You're good. He's also a guy who could continue to take independent dates, get paid very handsomely for that, and be like, you know what, ROH treated me well during this time. Let me see what they've got going on in April. And I think, if he doesn't like what's going on in April, he could probably still walk to AEW anytime he wants because he's that good. So he's a guy I'm thinking of when I ask, like, who's going to show loyalty on this stuff.
I feel bad for guys like Rhett Titus, who are known as like all-time nice guys, and they have been loyal to Ring of Honor for a very long time. His tag team partner walked out the door in the middle of a tag title reign, and he stuck with them and made the best of it. I look at I think CB should be able to get some more work in New Japan locally, and then over there he was always a big hit. Shane Taylor Promotions somebody's got to look at them. If I were AEW, I'd be signing Shane Taylor immediately as well. I'd sign all three of them, to be honest with you. Again, with the problems you have with representation, and you want people that can actually work and actually perform, you got to sign him. You do not miss on Trish Adora a second time. You do not miss on her. You probably pick up Roxy. That's probably it in that division. But there's like 10, 15 people that I think got to get signed by WWE, AEW, Impact, New Japan Strong within the next week or two if they want.
It's fascinating how many, like, this story breaking has really made me realize how much depth that roster had.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that's what made me realize, right? And I'm trying to watch the product, but I don't know, it's just interesting. Like, when you look at the pieces individually and you think about where they could be elsewhere, they become more interesting almost, which in a lot of ways feels reflective of the last maybe 2-3 years of Ring of Honor, unfortunately.
Yeah. There's no buzz. There's no buzz. The video libraries, people say, gold. That's a gold line.
So that's what I was going to ask, because that's another discussion I want to have on tomorrow's show. But while Sean and O'Neill are here, like, are they doing anything with the library? I assume offers will be made, but I don't know.
If I were AEW, I pay for that too. You want to talk about a library to launch your VOD service, your stuff, plus Ring of Honor stuff.
Yeah.
You're going to have the Nightmare Factory stuff there too. Like, you could probably get Mission Pro. Like, there's a lot of stuff you could get to do your own over-the-top service.
They gotta get the all-in video, right?
Oh,
if nothing else,
ROH should be respectful and work that out with them.
Yeah. I feel like there was conversations about that, but nothing was ever reported that any type of an agreement was worked out. But
AEW owns the name; they don't own the footage because it was an ROH show. That's what it was.
Right. O'Neill, what are you doing? I mean, what do you think happens with this tape library?
Yeah, I mean, I think AEW, if they do want to launch a streaming service, the move is to, try and get the library, because if WWE gets it, they put it on Peacock, it's just, another promotion they have where it's not like, I mean, people will watch it, but you're not getting like new subscribers to jump over there. I don't think like AEW, you have that from launch, or even if you just attach it to HBO Max, whatever they're going to do, it makes an impact over there.
It is. It'd be important, very, very important to have that Bryan Danielson footage and that CM Punk footage.
Yeah,
and run documentaries based on that. I think that would be plus virtually everybody else. Cody, the Bucks,
Cole, Cole, Omega. Yeah,
it feels like they really like. And again, this isn't the time to fully analyze the flaws of Ring of Honor, but man, they never was able to make Honor Club like. That's we're all talking about that tape library, and it's there. No one has it. No one talks about it.
Botched it from the jump, man. Like all that, all the issues WrestleMania weekend for Supercard. Like it wouldn't load. It was just a bad service.
Yeah.
They had a chance. I mean, that's why they put a lot of their stuff on YouTube. We'll make sure the archive lives on YouTube, and
we may not. That channel may be closed. That channel may be closed, and that show may be finished before you know it, pal. I don't know.
My God, that was the best show we did all week.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's what you learn for trying to do a good wrestling show, man. You learned a lesson there,
fellas. It was good stopping by and actually being serious for a moment. Hope you all have a good one.
Thanks, Sean. Enjoy your
See ya.
night.
Serious wrestling conversation.
I know. What is this? What is happening?
It's interesting, and it's such a weird. It happened so suddenly, and I think all of us involved in this, and probably our audience too, couldn't help but kind of just shrug their shoulders at poor Bob being the endorsement. I mean, of course that would happen, right, Bob? Like, and I'm not, listen, seriously, this is more important than this, but I know for a fact that within about a minute of Bob reading what happened, he thought to himself, "Oh fuck, they're going to film my mentions now," and I thought the same. It's brutal, man. It's such a shame, but Ring of Honor. If there's one thing we can all, Bob more recently, but Jeremy and I, we've always showed love to Ring of Honor, right?
Yeah.
Promotion means a lot to us. There's a lot of great stuff there, and whether there'll be more, hopefully, it doesn't seem likely, but hopefully. But yeah, it was quite the time there for a while, man. That was that like little hot. I would say, I don't know how you feel about this, Jeremy. On Patreon, I said like 04 to like 07, 08 was kind of my, and I'd have to go back and reflect because you could argue it started earlier than that, but god damn, that was a hell of a time.
I mean, I mentioned it on the show yesterday when we were watching Styles in London, how like AJ Styles and Ring of Honor, the matches they were producing, I'll say it again, I would watch it on my little video iPod, like while I was at school or on trips and stuff, because it was something different. And this is not a knock on TNA, but they're especially during the weekly pay-per-view stuff, like they gave you some elements of that, but
right.
They also gave you a lot of Jeff Jarrett.
Bullshit.
Yeah. So I was like, all right. But like the ROH match is like, oh, this is different. And it helped rekindle my love for wrestling at that time. And Joseph, we both said it. Like, I don't know if there's a more influential promotion over the last couple of decades than ROH when you look at where the people that they helped grow, where the style was then, where it is now. Even like I didn't even think about this until we're just kind of talking about it. Is like, all right, you had WWE, you had Impact, they had their weekly shows, and then they wanted to do events, and then they wanted television and everything. ROH just they build towards fights, and that's what helped make them kind of like the third brand during that time. And again, they, like Sean said, they kind of boosted up to the second brand, but like that's what GCW is doing and how they're becoming popular. They're just building fights. Like their influences are all over the world of wrestling today.
They're also, and I'm not certain of this, but I'm pretty confident. They're the first major promotion that had to like prioritize match quality for the sake of their business. And what I mean by that is they were a DVD business and they would need every show to have one match that had the buzz that people would buy the DVD
for. Word of mouth, message boards, whatever it might be. Yeah.
As silly as this sounds now in 2021, I'm promising you folks, not many wrestling promotions booked directly for match quality to that degree. Like Gabe has talked about it. Like he would put matches on these shows knowing I need a classic on here somewhere. I need something, in that 4-star and up range. And it sounds silly, but like that was their business. It was a different kind of buzz, and it's interesting, man. It's incredibly significant promotion. And again, early next year it would have been 20 years. So, it's a long run. And again, that's not me trying to put a bow on it. It's true. Like a lot of the great wrestling promotions do not last 20 years, and we all have different examples of it, but it's the truth. Like so. Yeah. There you go. I guess should we do some AEW?
We will. Yeah, O'Neill. Anything else to say after you have effectively ended the promotion?
No, not really. I hope come April they're back and they're just better than ever, and that's all you can hope.
Yeah, Joseph and I will discuss this more on tomorrow's show. I will kind of weigh in a little bit more, kind of pave the way for everybody else, but I have thoughts on things as well, and I'll detail some of my thoughts a little bit more tomorrow. Can't give everything away on the channel. We gotta have some type of discussion on tomorrow's show. Otherwise,
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I know. So it's gonna be a Dynamite recap show, which is what it's become.
Wow.
Yeah. Speaking of Dynamite, starts in about 55 minutes. The ace of the promotion, Bobby Fish, is going to defeat CM Punk. Me and Papa Hulbert are on the same board here, Joseph. Let's go.
So I'm going to tell. He'll never hear this, which makes it even funnier. But a couple months back, he started watching this product like consistently. I'd say he was watching some of it because he wanted to have like a frame reference about stuff I talk about on here and just what I cover. Because he mostly thought I covered bullshit, which is true, but some of it's good. Is what I tried to explain. So he was watching some of it, and then the first dance was like he's been in since then, right? And brother, TK has convinced him that Bobby Fish is like, and what's the funniest thing is he's seen Bobby Fish lose to both Bryan and Sammy Guevara, but he is convinced that not only is Bob Fish winning tonight, they are going to have like a lengthy program. He's convinced this. And I don't want to tell him that I think it's just going to be a 12-minute one and done match, which I'm almost certain it is. But he's like, he watched that. Who was it that Bob Fish worked on, Doc? Invictus Cash, and he beat him in like a minute or something. Yeah. He watched that match like it was Iron Mike Tyson fighting Spinks in 87 or whatever, He just couldn't believe it. He was like, he thinks Punk's doomed. He thinks he's fucked. He's got no chance against Bobby Fish. So that's part of why you have guys that come in with a clean slate, because he has seen Bobby Fish's whole run and it adds something to it. But I'm kind of intrigued by the match. Like, I could see a world in which it's actually not that good. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Like, I could see a world in which it's really good. I could see a world in which it's kind of slow and people don't like it very much. Punk and Bobby Fish, that is. But I'm quietly confident. I think it will be. I think it'll be good. I think CM Punk's going to win, though. Sorry to break the illusion here.
Nope, not happening. Bobby Fish, back me up on this, O'Neal.
Yeah, no, I think it's probably going to be Punk as well, but it's going to be a good match though. Like I've liked Fish's 2 matches. People are being kind of weird about it. I don't know why. Well, never mind. But no, and all the Punk matches, we've talked about how they've been different from each other. We'll see if he can do anything different tonight. Fish is the guy who have they worked before? I'm sure at some point. No.
Bobby Fish really rose to prominence when Punk was in WWE, deep into his run as well.
Yeah, Punk even said, like, I've not seen much of Bobby Fish. Like, I was not watching NXT.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But that's fine, too. I mean, you have 2 guys just been in the business long enough to go out there, do whatever, and have a good TV match. That's what Fish has done so far. Just very good TV matches.
You know what rules about Bobby Fish? I'm not here to do the underutilized bit because he was utilized fine in WWE in terms of his placement on the card. But he objectively rules that he cut no promos while he was there for 4 years. And he did this Road 2 promo that reminded me he was like a top promo guy in Ring of Honor. And they just didn't use it. It's like when Arn and Tully went to the World Wrestling Federation, they just give him Heenan and was like, yeah, you guys are mutes now. So, they just do things. But Bob Fish, I mean, that promo he cut on the Road 2, I don't know if you've seen this, Jeremy, but it was incredible because Punk's calling him like a bully, and he basically just says, like, you're a dick too. You've been a dick your whole career. Why you keep giving me shit for it? Like, the thing about Bobby Fish is he has this sort of rugged, like, he feels like a tough guy, And I think that is something that, while I'm not it used to be better guy, there is something to be said for the old fucker with a moustache that looks like he can fight a little bit. He throws these strikes. Yeah, he does that face that Jeremy's doing. I like it, man. He has his own style. He has his own flavour. I think the match will be good. I hope it is after I've given it a ringing endorsement here on the air.
Here's why Bobby Fish is going to win. And I'm going to call out Tony Khan if Bobby Fish does not win. It is the man's birthday. If they have him lose on his birthday, that is a total WWE move. And I will not stand for it. We want to rib WWE all the time. We want to knock them all the time. Oh, they have them losing their hometown. Bobby Fish is from Boston, too. I actually don't know if that's true. But he's from Boston. They're not going to have him lose in Boston on his birthday. Where's Bobby Fish from?
I don't know. It was Punk's birthday like yesterday, though.
Well, the match wasn't yesterday. If the match was yesterday and then they had Bobby Fish win, I'd be a little upset. They don't have the man lose on his birthday. This ain't WWE where Cedric Alexander loses to Jackson Riker on his birthday. Is that what you want to be, Tony Khan? Is that the kind of example you want to set?
Yeah. I don't think Bob Fish is going to sweat that, to be honest, if he loses to CM Punk on TNT at the age of 45.
Bobby Fish is from Albany, New York, which is close enough to Boston.
Agreed. That's what I was going to say, but I didn't know that's my geography.
I don't know how like truly close it is. That's pretty close, right, O'Neill?
I mean, they're in the same region. It's probably like 7 or 8 hours,
Like,
if I had to guess. But
in the grand scheme of the United States of America, it feels like that's pretty close.
It's 2 hours. It's a 2-hour.
Wow.
Bob's whole family.
Yeah.
Bob's whole family's going to be here.
Right, and you're going to have him lose? That's a WWE move if Tony Khan does it.
Yeah.
He's from Boston. I agree. Four-door soup. He's from Boston.
From
Boston.
You convinced me on this. Bobby Fish should win in 2 minutes with his head kick.
Yeah. Put the belt on Bob Fish. O'Reilly's going to be coming in pretty soon as well. Like, don't have him lose to the CM Punk guy.
I popped myself huge earlier where someone pointed out to me, this is very fair, but they were like, he was the fourth most important guy in Undisputed Era, fourth most popular guy. And I read it and legitimately was like, my second favorite guy in the Undisputed Era.
The most popular guy is the guy you like the least in Undisputed Era.
Probably. But that's, that was just me being quirky. It's true. He was the fourth guy. I don't know. Him and Roddy is probably close, but no, he was fourth, actually. Fuck that.
He was
fourth.
fourth. Yeah.
I'm not even going to be humble about it with Roddy.
No.
He's definitely fourth, yeah.
Yeah, he was fourth. I don't think the injuries helped him because that took him. Yeah. Like, he was out, and that's sort of why Roddy was kind of put into the group. And then, we got injured, and he was out during the split of everything. So he was definitely fourth.
Remember when he tore his ACL and he came back and, like, second match back, he wrestled War Games?
Yeah.
Interesting choice.
Yeah. Smart move.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was only 52 back then as well.
Bobby Fish fucking rolls. He's going to win tonight. Get on the fish boat, everybody.
Yeah. I agree. I'm with you.
Dynamite
looks good tonight. Dynamite looks good tonight.
I'm excited.
Strong show.
Yeah.
I mean, we got Moxley and Preston Vance in the tournament.
Yep.
They're already doing one thing that they should do. I don't think they'll do another one. I think Moxley's going to actually win this match. And then Dark Order and the Elite should be really fun, right? Like 8-man tag, just a bunch of guys running wild. Like, that should be a really fun match.
You got the standout match of the first round of the TBS tournament in Serena Shida 2. That should be great. Yeah. Sammy and All Ego is a big one. Like, I mean, I think we all agree Sammy's winning, but like, if it was like a big match for Ethan who hasn't done anything singles on TV since the coffin match, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a big match.
They do an incredible job of just. And look, I understand people in wrestling media, they're very scared to be like strong on the praise for AEW because they don't want to look like bootlickers. But I am a bootlicker. And I would like to tell you all, the way they rotate this roster is unlike anything I've ever seen in professional wrestling. They have got like 30 guys that you could consider top guys. I'm not saying they all are top guys, but genuinely, if you sit down and like look at the lineup, it's incredible. I mean, Ethan Page, we just said it, okay? Tonight is his first singles match on television since mid-July. Mm-hmm. And you wonder why it feels more exciting than if he wrestled every single week.
Yeah.
Obviously, Bobby Fish has been active. That's we get that. That's kind of the point of what they're doing with him. But they do this stuff so often. Like Kingston last week, I said this to you guys. Kingston on Saturday, that was his first singles match on Dynamite since February. We're at the end of October. They keep these guys, but these guys aren't losing. They're being protected, and they're in the picture still. It's just
they're doing tag matches. They're doing multi-man matches. Yeah. Like Eddie Kingston's been. It feels like has been on television. I mean, he had the pay-per-view match against Miro, right. But it feels like he's been on television every single week since February when you said that was his last.
He's visible. Match. He's always around. Yeah,
right. But he's not wrestling every week, which. Joseph, we've talked about this many times of how, like, you look at how often everybody in WWE wrestles compared to go back to the 90s. It's like, okay, well, Dolph Ziggler has worked 200 matches this year just on television. I don't know how it's possible, but that's how many television matches he's worked. It's like Steve Austin wrestled like 5 times on TV. It's like, and you wonder why when he did, like, it felt like a big deal, or why his pay-per-view matches felt like a big deal. It's because you just weren't seeing him wrestle every single week.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because it's basically AEW is basically a product of like what WWE could have done with their talent pool when it got really big rather than bringing back the brand split.
Yeah.
And I actually like the brand split, so that's not me hating.
I do too, but of course we know that they just don't know Because they could have done the same stuff even with the brand split. That's how deep their roster was and how much talent they had. They could have done this with the brand split. They just didn't.
It is interesting. It's because I think a lot of people lose sight of how unique it is, their system. Like it's pretty wild, man. I mean, there's a lot of depth there, and everyone still feels important and protected. So that's something that comes to mind on these shows. But let's be honest, tonight's fuck tonight. You know, it's about Friday night, baby. 10 p.m. Eastern time. Not live on TNT. The Mad King Eddie Kingston versus the American Dragon Bryan Danielson in a rematch of a problematic wrestling promotion based in Philadelphia. God bless.
Yeah. No, it's going to be good. I didn't watch Bryan and Dustin yet. I need to watch that still.
My God, Joseph.
Dude, one of Bob's favorite wrestlers is Dustin.
Yeah, I know. I need to watch it.
How have you not watched it? Why not?
I
watched it twice.
Yeah.
Wow. Me too.
I probably should. Probably watch it tonight.
He was ill though, right, Bob?
Yeah, I was for a little bit, but
Still,
I'm excited too. I'm going to Rampage next week, so I'm excited to see what I'm going to see.
Do you, when you're very poorly, Bob, okay, so when you're out of action, do you like pay someone to do your quote tweets for you? Or do they just stop?
Joseph's trying to book the sequel to the movie.
I'm just wondering, right?
I mean, Friday night, I was just off, man. I went to bed.
You owe me for like an appearance fee for the late night cring, because I was only there because I thought we were doing, the final night of the draft and you guys were booking promotions. And then all of a sudden you're not there and I've got to do just a normal late night cring. Like what am I doing here? This is not what I was paid to be here for.
Yeah, I tuned in for a little bit and I saw you were there and Jack was there. It seemed like it was going well, and then I went to sleep.
There was one point where the Oracle of Wrestling was asked, something happened, and the Oracle of Wrestling began to give his answer. And Jack waited patiently for Oracle to stop talking so he could leave the show, and eventually just left the show. And they put in the private chat, enjoy yourself, guys. And Oracle didn't even sell him leaving. We all popped, and he just continued. Incredible performance from him on Friday.
Are you going to be there Friday, O'Neal?
Yes, this Friday. I will be on the show. Don't worry, I'm back. We have to book our shows.
Threat.
Sounded really excited about that, Bob. Imagine the show that's going to be. That'll be my final show for about 13 days. Imagine the performance I'm gonna offer. Just get myself in immense trouble, leaving in shame.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'm going to get myself in trouble tomorrow on the main show. Get canceled. Oh, the angle we're running? You refuse to even appear.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah. If we talking about the Ring of Honor stuff, I was like, what are you intending to say?
I don't think I'm going to say anything too bad on that, but, we're running a bit here that's going to get me canceled.
I'm going to just announce now that next week's distraction is going to just be like a solo Robert O'Neal episode. It's going to be 24 hours long.
Could you imagine?
Oh, man.
Yeah. Yes.
I do actually have to go make some dinner before Dynamite, so I am going to get out of here.
What are you going to have for dinner, Bob?
Get some chicken and potatoes and some vegetables, and basic,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Bob. Bye.
Well, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
See you, Bob. Is he on the show tomorrow? What are you doing on... No, he's left. What's he doing on the show tomorrow? Who knows?
I think I'm going to get him to review Halloween Havoc.
Okay. Josh Baker says, once everyone realized Robert O'Neal run with honor is real, it was unfortunately all over for ROH.
God damn, man. We have to... Why is it that our universe has to make everything a meme, even when we didn't realize we were making it a meme? Like, we really had good intentions of that Ring of Honor thing, and we've turned it into this terrible shame. I mean, he's right, but it's just... As soon as I read it, I was like, oh, shit. Bob. Poor Bob. But there you go. The Dynamite, AEW Dynamite, 8 p.m. Eastern time on TNT tonight.
I'll be watching Shea Gilgeous-Alexander against Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, it's like no one else is coming for the Lakers, right? They just send him Russ.
Dude, I hope that I know LeBron's out. I don't know if Davis is out. That's probably been announced. Dude, if it's just Russ and Melo and Malik Monk and Kent Bazemore, he's going to try to do so much, and it's going to be fantastic. It's either going to go – he's legit going to have like a 50-20-20 game, or he's going to take 50 shots and have a 30 10-10 game.
Factual. It'll be fun either way. Joe, you're the one who put the Bob horror movie tweet out on this week. Bob watches ROH and it's over. Look, I accept my part in this. I'm just saying it's incredible that we managed to start a new series that immediately became a meme within 2 weeks of it starting. All timer. Okay, Jeremy. By the way, on MLW right now, Bob Fish is wrestling Lee Moriarty.
Yes. Great match.
Fascinating. Yeah. What match are you most looking forward to tonight, pal?
Honestly, Dark Order and Elite. Like, I think that's gonna be. I mean, you look at the talent in that match. I think it's gonna be really fun. And so I'm excited for that one.
What do you think they're gonna wear as their costumes, Jeremy?
That's another reason why I'm kind of excited. I want to see the kind of dumb shit that they're gonna wear. Like, we know Dark Order is gonna do stuff, and obviously, like, the Elite guys are goofy and self-aware enough to, like, they're gonna do something as well. So
I just assumed they were gonna be cowboys, but people say I think that would be boring.
Oh, dude, the Elite take shots at WWE with their costumes.
Oh, they'll do something like that. Yeah, they'll come out as like DX or something.
Could you imagine
DX and the Steiner brothers?
If they come out as DX, are you kidding me?
Immediately coronated as the greatest wrestler of all time.
Yeah, shut the entire promotion down if they come out. And by the entire promotion, I mean WWE. Like, shut it all down if they come out as DX.
Like, so this is the thing, and the Confirmed Shoot and I talk about this a lot, and I know that you share this philosophy. Like, imagine the amount of petty bullshit we would do if we had this promotion. Like, if we were the billionaires, like, people get mad when Tony Khan tweets, like, you know, let's go Wade or whatever. Like, the stuff that I would do. Jack says they should dress like Roman and the Usos. and Adam Cole could be, he could be Paul Lee.
He's the manager that they want him to be in WWE.
Oh, that's tremendous.
So good. It's so good.
That's good shit. Yeah, I like that. That's fun. No, I'm with you. That match will be great. I'm really intrigued if Punk's pay-per-view program takes shape tonight.
Yeah, because there ain't many weeks.
There was a little teaser in the Road 2, though. Did you see that?
I haven't watched the Road 2, and so I guess I need to. Like,
Punk says, he's like, I had a really lame week. He's like, you know, my flight home from Miami got cancelled, gas leak, and so he goes for it, and he's like, and then I was late to the building in Orlando. I get to the place, and people tell me, oh, Sting got jumped. And he's like, and then I see Bobby Fish doing this shit, and it's like, that's interesting, right? Yeah. And I wonder if the original plan was. Basically, I'm wondering if the original plan was that Punk would save Sting then and there, and they instead was like, we can actually do a Bobby Fish match. Let's give Bobby a squash. We'll do that angle there, and we can go back to it. I don't know, because the thing with Rampage is, how many Dynamites do they have until the pay-per-view? This is 2 more after this, right?
Yeah, 2 more after this, yeah.
So 2 more after this, and then you got 3 Rampages?
Yeah.
CM Punk, that's a lot of TV time for him with his promo ability. But even with that, they need to go on with it because the clock's ticking.
And I've said it. I've told you many times. Like, I want Punk to have something he can, like, sink into, and not just like, all right, let's have matches. Even though I know there's a long-term thing at play. He keeps telling me, I get it, but I want him to something to really sink into. And yeah, if that's where they're gonna go with this, like, I'm all for it. I don't know if you saw the interview he did yesterday where he was asked about swerving at First Dance, and he said, like, it's low hanging fruit, but it crossed my mind of someone like MJF coming out when the music hit and everything, and he said, like, not yet, and, like, Punk's a smart guy. He ain't dropping stuff like that if there ain't something there that to work with. So I don't know if they're going to do that as part of things, but I would imagine they do something like that if this is where they're going, unless they are going to the Punk and MJF stuff.
It'll be interesting. I rewatched the First Dance on the weekend, I think.
I didn't rewatch the whole thing. I watched that Punk entrance.
Yeah, that's all I meant. Yeah. I think that's got to be one of the most special, most, like, emotive magical moments in pro wrestling history, man. I really don't say that lightly. Like I mean that. I'm sticking to that. What an incredible combination of circumstances that was.
Yeah.
What a weird, unique event that was, where it was like an episode of TV that wasn't just an episode of TV at all, and was like a venue booked for a rumor that they knew they were going to be able to deliver, that the people kind of expected, but there was enough doubt to make them all terrified and nervous the whole time. And then like the show starts, and they run down the card and they give the audience time to start chanting CM Punk, which was genius. They take that long shot, CM Punk chants, and it's like no matter what they tell you now, no one was confident they knew what was going to happen first on that show because it was such an unknown. It was a complete unique wrestling experience. And then that music hit, and it was like, it wasn't even a pop, was it? It was just like a sound that just continued on. Like it just was a roar, and it just exploded. It was emotion. It was, God, man. It gives me chills looking back at it. It's just incredible. Amazing moment.
Every time I have to like write a CM Punk article, which is almost daily, I go to YouTube and I have to search for a CM Punk video to use as a thumbnail, and that's one of the first things that pops up. It's already like number 5 most viewed on their YouTube page. It's already over 10 million views. I'm like, just when I see it pop up in my search, I'm like, I just gotta watch this. Like I gotta watch the music hits, the pop when the music hits, the pop when he comes out, I just have to watch it every single time that I read a CM Punk article. I basically watch this video because it's just there, and it just reminds me of like this was something special. Like this was just magical.
That day was just. I remember like it being trending the whole day, like CM Punk, and people were like, it's CM Punk day, and like this kind of concern trolling that actually scared us all. We were like, oh God, and then you get worried that he'll be there, but don't under deliver, don't swerve. And of course, Tony Khan just starts the show with him because, of course, like
right. We, leading up to it, we fantasy booked a million things of, maybe you mentioned like the Iconics, like maybe come out, and then you do Punk at the end. Like the MJF stuff was a heavy rumor. It's like, oh, do you save it for the end and let it build the entire show? Do you deliver it right away? Like, what do you do? And like I thought they handled it perfectly. I thought starting off what was the move they were going to make, and that's what they did. And I did like your bit of come back out at the end and do the face off, but still it was so well played. And even I'm sure you read it where like the initial plan was, Tony Schiavone introduces him and everything. Like I'm glad they cut that, because I just think
for sure, that would have been.
Yeah, like run down the card and then just music hit. Like, if Tony Schiavone's out there and like, here we go, ladies and gentlemen, CM Punk, like, I think that loses some impact.
No, absolutely it does. Yeah, if you watch when he has done that, he did it like the next week, it did take away the pop. It's not the same. They nailed it. And like, I remember just the sense of celebration. Because remember that show closed with Mox beat Garcia, and it was a short match because obviously the time had gone. And it was like King, Mox, Sting, and Darby in the ring afterwards, just kicking the shit out of the heels, and they were all like standing tall. And they went off the air, and it was like, it really was this sense of just like a celebration. Like, fuck, they're on fire here. Yeah. And I remember that. Do you remember Kingston and Schiavone's like pre-show video thing? Do you remember this? No. Where it's like half an hour before Rampage, and they post this video to YouTube where it's Schiavone and Kingston with like the Michael Jordan statue behind him, and King has got a drink in his hand, and he's like, listen, I ain't here, overpromise or anything. This is going to be one of the greatest nights in professional wrestling. It's like, oh shit! I was like, please don't mess this up. And then by the end of it, it was, God bless, man, what a night. Look, I think to Ant's comment about, the criticisms, and we've talked about this, Jeremy, like, I think there is truth to the notion that, like, if you wanted to maximize the money-making opportunities of CM Punk in the first 3 months, you obviously put him straight in a big angle.
Yeah.
I just think the thing that, not missing, because you can know this and just not like it, that's fine, I get that. Not you necessarily, I mean generally. Like, he clearly wants to do those matches down the line. So this is the best story to tell with that in mind, because he's telling the story of a great athlete coming back to the game. That's what he's doing, you know? I get the issues with that. I personally don't dismiss all criticisms as bad faith. I think there's something to be said for this. People want Punk to have more of a story.
Yeah.
But I personally am enjoying his individual story. Does that make sense? Like, I think there's an interesting conversation to it.
I do wonder how much it would have changed if, and I know like Cole said he made his decision late, and I mean, I don't think he really could have talked to WWE or to AEW about things until the second contract kind of expired. I don't know quite when Danielson made his decision, but I mean, the talks are around the same time. This is more focused on Danielson, though. I wonder how much the Punk story changes if they don't get Danielson, because we've talked about this before. Of like, if you just throw both of them into that, like, it takes away a little bit of something. And then I was worried that if they did that, all right, where was that going to leave Hangman with everything? So it felt like somebody had to take a step back there. So you didn't like overcrowd that main event scene with all of these guys. And Punk was the guy who was willing to be like, you know what? Let me tell this story of, I just want to wrestle dudes. I want to get my feet wet again and go from there. And I think that's a testament to him, and, you know, good on him for doing that. But I do wonder, if they don't get Danielson, is Punk essentially in that Danielson role?
It's interesting, and that's why this was the most incredible summer you could ever ask for as a wrestling exec for Tony Khan, because, you know, he hit on all fronts.
What a good problem to have. Like, what am I going to do with CM Punk,
right,
eventually Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson, and a returning Hangman Page?
Exactly, it's incredible. But I think what's interesting about Punk is, I think he has, like, I do believe he has firm beliefs as to the right and wrong of both professional wrestling and even beyond that. But I also think one of the big things about CM Punk's personality is that he does not want to be, like, shown as a hypocrite. He will die on his sword. Like, he's big in that regard. I don't think there was any chance, in hindsight, even though this was my expectation at the time, he was never doing the part-time deal, because he knows he did all of those promos and he said all those things. He just weren't going to give people that dunk. He refuses. There's no way. He's going to do it all the way, you know?
Because he already got dunked on with the UFC stuff, right? Because he said all that stuff, and then he goes to the UFC, and it's like, oh, well, he's going to get paid this much. He's going to take a main card spot from somebody. And people are like, isn't this exactly what he talked about? People just coming into WWE. He's doing that with the UFC. So, like, he already got dunked on, like, pretty big time there when he signed with UFC. And obviously that turned out. But yeah, I'm with you that once he signed with AEW, it wasn't going to be a thing of like, oh yeah, I said all this shit about WWE and badmouthed how they kind of booked things, and now I'm going to do the same thing in AEW. Again, it's a credit to him that he did it this way, and whether or not he was going to be in the Danielson position, maybe if they didn't get Danielson, maybe he still would have come in this way. I guess we'll never know, but regardless, this is the way he chose to do things, and it's a credit to him that he decided to do this.
I'd imagine it's got him a lot of love in the locker room. I mean, I'm not in there, and, you know, I ain't talking to anyone in there, but it feels like it would have.
Plenty of people, like, I mean, not this specific example, but, you know, plenty of people they're asked about, like, Punk coming in and Danielson coming in, and they really praise Punk for just how kind and caring he's been, like, with his time and everything, and the way he sort of handled things. And, you know, again, good on him, because he didn't leave with the best of reputations with everything. Yeah. He did every interview. He sounded very salty and bitter about things, and, you know, to an extent, understandably so. And then even on Twitter, he sounded very salty and bitter about things. So people had their doubts and their reservations, and I understand why. But I think thus far, he's the Coleman stuff, I would imagine, earned him a lot of goodwill too, because, like, the moment they announced that, he's like, no, wait, no, like this, we gotta change plans here, because so
that ruled. I mean, I do think, like, those of us that have lived the story and are in the bubble probably lose sight of how incredibly epic it is. Like, I've said this before, but I believe it. if you were watching a movie, okay, Jeremy Lambert, and the main character vanished from his field for 7 years, and when he returned, he received a welcome like what CM Punk received at United States, you'd be like, dude, this is the, you'd be like, this is the most, there's no way people would still care after 7 years of him saying he actively hated the shit that they're watching. Brother, he came back and it was like, there was such a positivity to the whole thing. It really is, it's a really pretty, like, uplifting story. If you just look beyond the kind of wrestling element, it's a human interest story. There's something to it. It's a guy who's refinding his passion and his love for something that defined his life, basically. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, he's wrestling Bobby Fish tonight, which is fucking hilarious.
Can't wait to see Bobby Fish kick the shit out of him for 2 minutes tonight and win.
God bless, man. Imagine telling someone, I know it's cliche, but imagine telling someone even 6 months ago, yeah, Bob Fish, the guy who looked like shit, teamed with Kushida. He's gonna wrestle CM Punk on TNT. Good luck.
We'll get out of here. We'll let everybody unless there's anything else you want to hit, Joseph.
I don't know if I've mentioned, but Eddie Kingston is wrestling Bryan Danielson on Friday on Rampage. Seems like a big deal.
It's a shame that that's not live.
Factual.
I think I will be able to avoid spoilers though, because I won't be doing the spoiler post. And usually, if I don't have to do that, then I'm able to avoid it. It's easy to avoid spoilers, folks, unless people are just dicks and want to message you about it.
It honestly is. The Andrade thing. My God, GC Dub have booked Bandito immediately.
Have they?
Yeah, for 3 days.
Tremendous.
By the way, there is one thing I want to say is the C shows this week were awesome. I don't know if you saw them, Jeremy, but Danielson had like a real match with Aaron Solo. It was I wouldn't say excellent, maybe strong. It was really good. And I remember when it was a joke that we'd be like, yeah, he's going to wrestle on YouTube. Nope. Real thing actually happening. So,
I didn't even think it was a joke. Like we may have
by
October
October
about it. No, we may have joked about it, but it was 100% happening. We all knew it was going to happen. I think that's why it became a joke. It was this is happening.
I could see a world where I was thinking to myself, maybe he'll wrestle one of those Elevation main events that are taped after the show, after Dynamite, as like a crowd thing. I did not think we would see him in the All Elite Zone at Universal Studios. I'm going to be honest with you. And it was awesome. That show was really good. They had promos, really good show. So there you go, folks. Enjoy the Dynamite. Bring the boom and all that good stuff. What do they say in that song? Bring the...
You know the lyrics. You're the one who where's O'Neal? Get him to read
he knows the lyrics, yeah.
Like the fuse.
Like the fuse, yeah. I don't know if we're supposed to bring the boom or not, actually.
It's all about the boom.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Adam Cole, baby. Let's go ignite.
Yeah, light the fuse.
Okay,
People
we're going to piece
chat,
this
just
together.
type the lyrics. Come on.
Elements collide in a flash of light. It seems like bring the boom is the thing we say.
Okay.
Okay, well, bring the boom, guys.
Do it, Joseph.
No.
Boom. And O'Neal. When O'Neal does it, it's tremendous.
He did it without prompt the other day. He just did it. Yeah, he just did the deal. I was like, whoa, what happened then? Bless him, man. Tremendous. Incredible.
Guys, we'll be back tomorrow. All right, I know Joseph mentioned this yesterday, but our people clearly don't watch ROH, that show. The show we did on Monday discussing everything hit over 2,000 views, which is insane to us because the main show was struggling to do half that a year ago. So the fact that now this channel, which recently rebranded and everything, is doing it, the viewership for this has been very good. I think it'll do very well once it's on VOD and everything. Just thank you guys for all the support and everything. You guys always show us love. We really appreciate that because we have fun doing this. And, I pushed for this channel because I wanted to do more content like this and do these kind of pre-show streams and just kind of go live whenever we wanted, but also have a set schedule with stuff. And it's cool that these circumstances suck, obviously. but it's cool that like when news like this hits, we can kind of immediately get on and sort of talk about it. And Sean Rossat can pop on here and give his insight and whatnot. I find that fun. It makes it so we don't feel as far behind as we would be if we just did our usual Thursday show, where it's like, okay, what happened on Sunday is old news by Thursday, but now we have a Monday show where it's like, okay, we can just talk about it then. So
I don't appreciate him coming on here and pretending he has scoops though.
I don't know if this was why you reacted the way you did, but it popped me. Like, I'm talking to Sean and I'm throwing questions at him and stuff. It's like, O'Neal, what do you think about this? And you're just like laughing. And I don't know if
because you also said at one point, he was like, we'll stay on this topic while we have Sean and O'Neal here. And I was like, what the fuck is Bob's? What's Bob supposed to? Well, and I don't even mean that as a dunk to Bob. I wouldn't be any use either as a guest in that. I mean, Sean's. Listen, folks. He's not been on this show super regularly because he's more busy than doing dumb shit with us. But like, I've been told Sean Rossat is pretty connected in the wrestling industry. I don't know if you've heard that. But
did you hear him name drop? Like, message Jonathan Gresham.
Me too. I also messaged Jonathan Gresham. Asked him about his finishes. But there you go.
But again, thank you guys for all your support with everything, and we will be on the main channel tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, doing our show, more ROH stuff, and we will also have Dynamite Fallout and anything else that may or may not happen. So big angle, thank God we're over with this stuff. I haven't been canceled yet. Tomorrow I'm going to push the boundaries a little bit. We'll see how it goes.
Great.
Again, thank you guys. We appreciate it. We'll catch y'all tomorrow. Everybody enjoy Dynamite. Or if you're not watching Dynamite, enjoy what you're doing the rest of the night. Talk to y'all tomorrow.